Welcome back to another episode of the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. I'm your host. I'm your host. I'm your hotel. I'm your host this week. Your host this week, Jim Root. I'm joined by Kai McEwen and Matthew Cox, my two consistent colleagues. Basketball is back, and we are apparently tongue-tied, but also excited to talk about them, the games, what we actually saw on the court. It's not preseason. It's not preview season anymore. Kai, the ball is back. How are you feeling? As I put in the title of our episode, is the revenge of college basketball.
Oh, mercy, Jim. Relieved. So relieved to have college basketball back. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. What got in there? Tongue tied, coughing. It's a really good start to the show. I love college basketball, Matthew. And it's been fun to watch. I've watched a lot of obscure games because there's been kind of some tough scheduling to start the year. I have a small, eensy beansy thought on that later on. But overall, happy it's back and excited to watch more.
Yeah, the schedule stinks. I hate it. I've spent like the last 2 days just watching like on-demand replays on ESPN Plus or ESPN, whatever, watch ESPN, whatever it's called now. Because you can't watch more than a game when there's 50 going on at one time on the opening day. It's just maddening. We've got to fix it. Props to Florida and Arizona playing a real game. Props to Mizzou going on the road at least, playing kind of a semi-significant game to some people's, in some people's eyes. Um, yeah, as I mentioned before, I think the scheduling hack formula we talked about, people got the memo, and then now it's just ruins non-conference scheduling effectively. So I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna holster,
Ah,
I'm gonna holster my thoughts for Kai's thought because it's gonna be a longer discussion about scheduling, but I'm not a fan either. But hey, we are a fan of games being back. There's actual ball to discuss, players doing things on the court, and games and results to discuss. So we're gonna do that today. We're going to have our very quick Roots Roundup. I'm not sure I have a single bit of notes for that around the college basketball world. No real news. But then we've saw that, which is us going through games, results, player performances, things that just stood out over the last week. And then three man thoughts. This is our space to bring whatever topics we want to the table, things that jumped out to us. Maybe not necessarily a specific game or player, but a theme or just it could be a specific team or something. So that is the format of the show. Typically, it's going to be in season. We'll end with a couple of game previews. We do typically record Friday, so we can talk Friday night, Saturday afternoon, or Saturday games. So that is going to be slipped in there towards the end. Then we'll have some reviews from you, the people. We like reviews, so go ahead and leave them on Apple Podcasts on that app. That is the ones we read. You can use it as a mailbag question. We do have one this week, so we'll wrap up the episode with that. Shout out to Jay Pitty, aka Joe Paskov, the composer of our opening tunes. I believe I'm getting dinner with the fella tonight, so
Very nice.
gonna give him an update on the status of the pod because I know he's dying to hear about it.
You guys have a
Great
podcast?
opening tunes.
Huh.
Yeah, I think he probably forgot he made the sound for it, the song for it, but that's all right. He did, and it's an original tune, and it's ours. Subscribe to the pod on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcasts. Also on YouTube, where we are streaming live at 7 a.m. Central on Friday morning. Our bright and bushy-tailed faces are here to talk hoops, so hop on there as well. You can also rewatch if you want to just see our shining faces, to know what we're looking like. Matt's beautiful tree in his backyard, if you or his background, if you want to see that as well.
it's across the street. I wish I had a tree. No trees. No
Okay.
foliage on the
Okay. All
property,
right. Well,
unfortunately.
maybe
It
someday,
looks nice,
Matt.
though. It does.
Aspire for a tree. And then, of course, join Basket Under Review. $10 a month for the best college basketball community on the internet. It comes with a Discord where we are talking every single day, breaking down some games in there via chat. People are asking about potential bets. We've got that channel. We've just got an AMA channel that we are always available for. There's a team discussion of every single team. There's Trilly's scoops. He's got hot and heavy recruiting news. Lots of guys in the class of 2026 committing these days. So he is all over that. So be sure to check that out. And then Basket and Review, the website is just overflowing with content. Great writers, guys pushing out incredible stuff. We had a off-season breakdown of IU Indy from Sam Fetterman. We have an in-season breakdown of their season opener from Will Warren. IU Indy is a story capturing the country right now with their insanity, and we'll discuss that in Kai's three-man thoughts. But you will not find more detailed breakdowns of that, of whatever is happening in the sport, than at Basket Under Review. So if you like college basketball, especially if you love it, join there, pay the $10 a month. It is absolutely worth it for everything you get out of that. All right, Kai, we've got a wedding in Door County this Saturday, so
Sure
that's our little
do.
personal corner. You are heading up today. I am doing an early morning drive on Saturday, but that means no Saturday show for
Yeah.
everybody at home, anxiously awaiting the return of that Saturday Best Bets breakdown show on our YouTube channel. It will be back week 2 of the season, but unfortunately, this wedding is precluding us from getting it done because of just setup, scheduling, logistics, etc. Just wanted to give the people that announcement early on. All right, let's get into Roots Roundup. All right, boys, it is Roots Roundup, our news and notes channel. And Matthew, it is brought to us by and brought to the people by our loyal sponsor at CBB Analytics.
That's right, Jim, cbbanalytics.com. And finally, we have in-season real data from Nick and the squad over there, which is already 2, 3 games coming in for some of these teams. Just looking at some squads last night who took some questionable losses or have looked dicey on offense. Man, not a pretty picture for some squads out there. I won't hold anyone accountable. Cough, Loyola. But yes, again, for those of you coaches, fans out there, you got all prepped all off season. Now you get to put what you thought next to what's actually transpiring on the floor. Make sure to sign up today. Use our promo code WEAVE, WEAVE, for $40 off your subscription. Again, shot charts and specific contextualized stats based on competition, road, home, situational stuff. That's what I love about it, but there's a million different stats and nuggets. And again, we'll keep you posted on some of the new features I know Nick is rolling out this year to expand the offering as well. So again, cbbanalytics.com.
Well said, Matthew. Promo code WEAVE. Get in there, join it, use it. It is a fantastic resource during the college basketball season and in the off season. All right, there's really not much in the way of news. We don't have any game-breaking realignment or rule changes or just general format stuff, but a little bit of injury news. I just wanted to point out the Texas Tech MASH unit. A shocking tweet from, I believe it was John Rothstein right before, or maybe it was Jeff Goodman. I can't remember who to credit, but right before Texas Tech's opener on Monday, no JT Toppin, no Lawan Watts, no Luke Bamgoy, no Josiah Mosley, which is like 4 of their top 7 players, including the potential National Player of the Year and another starter or two. Weird mash unit there. Christian Anderson, like, basically was a savant in the opener, but this is a team that we talked about was 1 injury away from being in trouble, and instead they have 4, and I think most of them are short-term, day-to-day type stuff. Toppins might be a couple weeks, 2 to 3. It's not a it is an ominous start for my preseason title pick to be this banged up before we've even played any games.
Yeah, I think McCaslin knows how brittle his team is, so he was proceeding with super caution. He said Toppin could have played, so I don't know if any of these are serious, but the fact that it's already popping up on the radar, Kai, is that's the concern. Because like I said this in preseason, there's no way you're getting 25 games from Toppin. Now, if he plays in the right ones and plays well, like Illinois lingers next Tuesday, look at the schedule. Then they have Wake on the neutral November 20th, and those are pretty huge non-con games going into Big 12 play. I think they got to get one of those two to feel good about getting like, an upper echelon type seed. And we'll see how healthy they are for those. But again, it's why you schedule Lindenwood and Sam Houston as much as I hate it. I think this is the one team where if you're going to schedule smartly, Kai, this is probably the one you want to get some cupcakes in early. Keep your guys rested.
Yeah, still beat Lindenwood by like 38. Christian Anderson, #1 in KenPom Player of the Year after 4 games, 4 days into the season. Cameron Carr, #5 for Baylor. Arrington Page, #10 for Northwestern. Yes, this won't change, Jim. KenPom Player of the Year. Wow.
Yeah, just call it now. Call the race.
Call
It's
it.
over. Hand Christian Anderson the title. Put the rest of those guys on the podium. That's exciting stuff. Okay, that's really it in the way of news. I unless I missed some sort of season-ending stuff, I didn't. There's been a couple other players that have gotten like the Tyon Grant Foster injunction to keep playing. Rashawn Agee of Texas A&M, Freddie Hicks of Tarleton State, but those aren't huge momentum shifting or landscape shifting storylines. So we're just going to keep moving and get right into we've saw that. No more roundup here. We saw that, as we mentioned. This is us just kind of recapping some games, outcomes. Kai, what is that face?
I've remembered we have a home field ad, so we can do that next for three man thoughts. We'll do a home field ad. How about
Yeah,
that?
3 minute thoughts sponsored by Home Field.
Thoughts,
That's right,
thoughts,
baby.
thoughts,
I
thoughts,
forgot.
thoughts, 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 thoughts.
Yeah, we saw that. So we got to start with the headliner, boys. Matt, you shouted them out for scheduling. Arizona and Florida playing in Las Vegas on opening night. Of course, there was the Villanova BYU. Do you call it an overcard if they played after the main event? I'm not sure how that works, but there
Makes
was at
sense.
least a second game, part of the doubleheader there. But man, the story in this game was Arizona kind of dominating the rim. They only took 5 threes, but they put up 93 points on what we thought and was coming into the year arguably the best front court in the country. Koa Pete has one of the best freshman debuts you'll ever seen against the reigning national champion on national TV. Really impressive stuff from the Wildcats, Matthew. What were your biggest takeaways from that game on either side? Take it in whatever direction you want.
Can I go negative on Florida?
Hey, do it.
I defensively, I think maybe we took for granted how awesome that backcourt was last season, right? Like the front court's obviously terrific. There people can talk about the fit and is it are they going to gum up spacing by playing some of those dudes at the three? But I think Boogie Flandon, um, already blanking on his name, Princeton
Xavier Lee.
transfer. Thank you. They're going to be fine, but defensively they just don't have the same tenacity that group last year had. So I think there's the margin for error for Florida is much smaller. That's what I learned. Arizona's awesome, no question. I think we've seen some really weird results in these big neutral site day one games. So I'm not going to freak out about Florida. I'm not going to crown Arizona, but I did notice that one little wrinkle. Like, okay, this backcourt's fun for Florida, but it's not the same defensive. That Elijah Martin and Will Richard brought last year. Richard.
Coa-Pete
Sure.
rocks. I am a
Coa-Pete's great.
I have not thought of a clever name for what do you call Coa-Pete fans, but he's awesome. Very, very, well, not very overlooked. Jim ranked him like top 50. I think we ended up ranking him top 60 in the top 100, but he's a full-on man. Yes, very impressed by Arizona. Lack of three-point shooting is interesting, but they didn't need it. So I don't really need to read in too much to that. Great game overall.
Yeah, the Florida thing, I forget. I said it on like a radio show yesterday, but I think the bigs are so awesome and they raise the floor, but the ceiling comes from the guards. And last year they had the elite shot makers, defenders on the perimeter. They don't really have that yet this year. I know Xavier Lee will never be a lockdown defender. And then it just didn't feel like Thomas Hauck is an awesome player. Playing him at the three just kind of neuters things a little bit. Like you don't
Yeah, it
have the
does. I agree.
three downhill slash and kick creation where every guy can quick catch and shoot. Like I know he has made a few shots. He had some huge ones in the Elite Eight last year, but it's not quite the same threat. He doesn't have the same gravity, and off the bounce, it's not the same dynamism either. So they've got some things to work out. It was against one of the few front courts in the country that can measure up with them size wise, and Arizona like was really impressive there. They got a double double out of Ivan Karchenkov playing 35 minutes. Like he's 6'7", 230, and he's playing the three the entire game. Like that is one of the few teams that can actually outsize Florida. So I don't want to take too much away from that. And Florida did turn around and beat North Florida by 40. But I also want to just shout out Arizona. Like Jaden Bradley was brilliant, awesome on ball defender, gets to the rim whenever he wants, really good finisher when he gets there. Yeah, and then even with like a bad game from Braden Burries, not a ton from the bench, Arizona gets this massive neutral court win against Florida. And as Matt mentioned, props to them for playing. The opening night needed that kind of a headliner, and I at least enjoyed it. Kai, and the Villanova BYU game was
Yeah,
fine too.
gross. There's no downside. As someone we've talked to in college basketball said, there's no downside. It's a Q1A game. Go play it. If you lose, who cares?
Right.
North Carolina didn't win a single Q1 game last year and got in the tournament. Like, trust me, you're going to be okay if you play a really good team the first game of the season. We need more of that.
That we do.
I'll transition to my first thought.
Which
but
we've
put a
saw
bow
that.
Three
on
man thoughts.
that thought.
We're not on
Oh,
three
that's
man
right.
thoughts.
We saw that. Dang it.
And we don't know what your
Um,
thoughts are because
We don't.
you don't use the outline. I'm going to call you out
I keep them
publicly.
behind the scenes. I
Like
know.
a
We don't
Kind of
want
Jim hate
that.
that I don't follow the
Hoarder,
rules.
Smout.
But I think Florida needs the third guard, and I think the Aberdeen transfer is starting to rear its ugly head. Like
Yeah, because
Calzar wasn't great,
bad.
bad, and it's like, whoa, this back. I mean, one of those if Lear Flan get hurt, I mean, they're going to be playing four bigs and one guard out there at some point. So that's where I think the Aberdeen transfer stunk, and I think it's going to start to really shine down the stretch or later in the year for Florida.
Yeah, it's just not quite the same team structure as it was last year, and it's worth monitoring. Matt, the other big result this opening week was your Dukies taking down Texas in the Dickie V Classic in Charlotte. Definitely a semi-home game for the Blue Devils. Another young team with a lot of freshmen being featured there, but you got an awesome game from Cam Boozer. Isaiah Evans has never met a shot he doesn't like, and he can make a lot of
God,
them. So
yes.
that guy fires away. Texas had a solid game plan early. They scored in the mid-range a little bit, which I think you're going to be able to do against Duke's drop coverage. Malik Brown wasn't quite himself yet, only I think 13 minutes. But Maddie, your Blue Devils look pretty solid. Win by 15 against a high major team. Can't complain about that result to start the year.
No, and Boozer was terrible in the first half. He was awesome in the second half, and that's kind of why they were able to pull away. I think Duke still has some question marks. Offensively, we'll see. Isaiah, it's funny. Sometimes I think there's gonna be a point in the year where Duke fans are gonna be like, "Whoa, okay, we got to stop shooting from 35. We got Cam Boozer, we got other, like." But he is such a like microwave game changer when he gets hot. Like it's almost like you have to put your chips in on the potential that he can flurry you to those crazy runs. And he's a more well-rounded scorer. So I love Duke. I'm pretty high on Duke. I'm always high on Duke. But I'm curious to see how this team evolves, Kai. But again, on the other side, Texas. I think this is a bubble team this year. I feel pretty confident saying the Sean Miller year one era in Austin might be in the national invitational. Is that too far?
No, I think
I don't think
that's kind of where we expected it year one.
we had some Texas discussion on our SEC rankings. That's why I wanted to at
Yeah.
least tee up that part of the coin.
Matt Vicky Valancourt at this game. He said, "I think Duke's. I have Duke like 14," which, yeah, they won by 15. So Matt with a good call there. It was a pretty close game throughout, but like he said, Duke didn't really play that well. This defense is scary. I think that's what I took away. It's
So
like
long. SAR, so
like
long.
Duke's defense could be top 5 in the country and maybe better. Like they're that good defensively. Yeah, SAR is a freaking glove. Texas has very little offensive dynamism and pop outside of occasional Jordan Pope step backs. So yeah, I don't. I think they're going to be competitive, but I think Matt's right. Like borderline bubble playing game type of team. After one game
Yeah.
against one of the best teams in the country, Jim.
Hey, since the preseason, I've been saying Texas misses the tournament. So I'm not like deterred by that take. You shoot 33% inside the arc. And yes, granted, Duke is huge. And as they get even more minutes from Malik Brown, that defense probably gets even scarier. They can switch more. You don't have to play drop exclusively with Ngungba kind of hanging out in the lane. Cam Boozer is not Cooper Flag defensively, so he's not going to have that like incredible Swiss Army knife flying around. But maybe that SAR, like he's not Flag size, but he is long. He's everywhere. He completely destroyed Trayvon Mark's night. Trayvon Mark took 2 shots. That is not Trayvon
Yeah.
Mark's style. He likes to get the ball up at the rim, and he just didn't even have a chance because SAR is incredible and he's everywhere. Maddie, quick Caleb Foster, Caden Boozer thoughts. They platooned point guard.
Yeah.
Foster played 26, Boozer played 14. What do you think of that position?
I think it's going to be a fascinating tug of war as the year evolves. I think Duke still needs to figure out how to use Cam Boozer a little more effectively. And I think once you kind of figure out the best way to weaponize him, you need to just put the pieces around him. And to me, it seems like Foster is the better pair, as much as it feels dumb to say not his brother. But I just think the floor spacing, because Foster's a little more offensively polished at this point, in my opinion. That would be like my crunch time preference. I think. I don't think
Okay.
I think I'd put Foster if I had to choose one of those two in my last 4 minute five. I would think I would put Foster at this point. Kai. Sorry,
Yeah,
Caden.
he's probably got the higher upside. Caden is just like super steady, playmaker. Obviously has the chemistry with his brother, but yeah, he's not going to space the court the same way and give you the opportunities to go to eat on the block like Cam can. All right, other outcomes or things to discuss in the opening week. Staying in the ACC, we do have a bad loss section, but this is separate from that because Georgia Tech didn't technically lose, Kai, but my God, it felt like they did. 46 points in regulation against Maryland Eastern Shore, who turned around and got like summarily executed in their next game out against Georgia, like lost by 60. This is like a crisis level panic button event for Georgia Tech to need overtime to win that game. Their guard play is horrific. I know Bay and Dongo did not play. I am not going to give you any credit for that when you're playing Ken Palm number 355 or whatever UMES is.
They were 362 in that game. Yeah, is he worth 30 points? I don't know. Kawasi Reeves, 2 for 10 from 3. Classic Reeves game.
He's just
Yeah,
firing, man.
very concerning, Jim. Yeah, we saw that. Georgia Tech thought they flew under the radar. But it is funny, the back-to-back for UMES, going Georgia Tech and then getting absolutely... They scored 29 points against Georgia. They scored 29 points. It's not good to start the year for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah,
I really
think we
screwed
thought
up
that.
my ACC rankings.
How'd you screw
did
him
you?
up?
Yeah, I
Tell me.
did. Hey, how about Boston College, by the way? Pretty game effort at FAU. Just want to point that out there. However,
They lost
Stanford.
the game.
Shorthanded FIU?
Yeah, true. It was on the road. But still, I think Stanford is better than Georgia Tech, and I regret choosing otherwise. That's all I
I
have to
forget
say.
if we had a board bet on that. I
We
feel
did.
like we had some sort of board bet of like, I promise you Georgia Tech stinks, or I swear Georgia Tech's gonna stink. And Mike, I didn't think they'd stink that bad. That was frightening out of the
And
gates
Cal
for
looks
the
a little
Yellow
better than I
Jackets.
thought too. So I don't know. Yeah, bottom of the ACC, it will be just like landmines for the top. You know, Clemson, NC State, SMU,
Yeah,
Virginia.
exactly.
You can't lose to
If
those
you
teams, but
want to
they
make
might
the
be better this
tournament,
year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Good luck. Quick shout outs to stat lines. Let's start with Christian Anderson. His 34, 11, and 7. Texas Tech down 4 of their top 7. Matt, there's a question about whether he was going to ascend to like All American good. And I mean, what an answer in the season opener. Like, completely controlled that game. Granted, it was Lindenwood missing their 2 best players, but it's still nice to see he has this gear in him as the guy with a team that, he's the top of the scouting report when JT Toppin's not playing, and he was a fireball.
I'm very curious to see what the pecking order looks like in February. I do think it's probably Anderson is like the Robin to Toppin's Batman, but man, I'm super high on Watts and I don't know. I can actually see some of those other guys really stepping. That's my just curious, Jim. I like that Anderson's kind of seizing the opportunity here, but I almost feel like I like him more as like a third banana to a Watts type of playing the Darian Williams role from last year. I feel like that might be the highest ceiling for this team. Probably a nitpick high. I recognize that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to read anything against Lindenwood or who they play, Sam Houston. Yeah, I'll make my Texas Tech determination next week after the Illinois
Yeah, when
game.
they play Illinois, yes. I like. There's a chance maybe to develop some depth. You start Nolan Groves, play him 27 minutes. Jalen Petty
That's
plays
silver
34
lining. Get some
minutes.
depth. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps you can find a useful 8th man, maybe a 9th man. As you go through Big 12 play, you're probably going to want that. You might end up needing it based on sprained ankles or whatever that comes along. So, yes, it could end up being a useful thing for Texas Tech. And I definitely think Christian Anderson being All American good is useful. All right. The other ACC stat line, Kai, Carson Tout,
Yeah, big
2
tout.
points, 19 rebounds for Notre Dame. Maybe I should have gone to Matt here because this is a true know your role all-star performance. Like, my role is not to look at the basket, it is to shove people and grab the basketball. And a few people did better than him. I think on our stats pod, Will looked up that this has been done like 5 times in the past 30 years, like this
Oh,
actual stat line. Joey Dorsey was one of the guys who did it for Memphis back in the day. But hey,
nice.
this is kind of what Notre Dame needs from the front court. Like, the guards love to shoot, just need a guy to go get boards.
He's been basically the best rebounder in the country for a couple of years at NAU. One of them, number one in defensive rebounding rate last year, and his defensive rebounding rate is 44.2 right now. He just gets the ball, man. He's got a nose for the ball. Brings his lunch pail to work. This is like his 6th season of college basketball. So he's old and he just rebounds. Good for him.
I like that he at least passes too. I was going to say I think rebounding is like the most overrated stat of any like statistic, but he's also a very good passer and good connector in the offense. So from that lens, I think he's a value add.
You're not
However,
impressed by rebounding.
I just think it's people put too much stock in it in terms of player evaluation.
I don't mind that take, Matthew. I think I
Thank
actually
you.
am on board with it a little bit.
Some
Yeah.
guys have made very good careers being rebounders.
Yeah, but they do other
Ronaldo
things too,
Bachman.
generally.
Paul Millsap.
Ronaldo Bachman. What is Ronaldo
Dennis
Bachman?
Rodman.
What a name.
Paul
I
Millsap
can't
could
believe
score.
that's the first
He
name.
made the NBA. He made it to the
Every-
NBA.
When you think
Ronaldo.
rebounding, you think Ronaldo Bachman.
Paul Millsap,
Millsap, good one. Yes, all
the
right.
other guy.
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead.
Dennis Rodman. How's that for one?
Yeah, Rodman. There's a Nuggets guy. I just can't think of his freaking name.
Kenneth Fareed.
Fareed.
What I'm saying is kids, rebounding doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Everyone's got it's baseline.
Don't
It's
box
table
out.
stakes. Got to do something
Don't
else.
box
Got to do
out.
something else. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You just can't. Yeah, you can't be the only thing you do. Got to
Yeah.
do something else.
Bram in the chat says the rebounding outside of Tout is a little concerning, and I would tend to agree there. And Jalen Harrelson's debut for Notre Dame was nothing. They're highly ranked recruit. He was like a zero.
Back to back years, their freshmen have just been like, ah. I know Sir Kai Sir was hurt last year, and I did expect
Sir
better things
Mohammed.
from him this year.
I,
But
I think beating LAU by 22 is actually pretty good for Notre Dame. So
I don't disagree with
I
that.
think it's
I
a
don't
solid
disagree.
result. They're not bad. Yeah.
They're just going off the Jalen Harrelson note. The freshman class has been outstanding, and I think we thought it would
Yes,
be
that's
coming into the
yeah.
year. We ranked it very well in our top 100 player rankings. A bunch of guys really high, but Cole Pete, AJ DeBanza, Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, all living up to the hype. Nate Ament, really good. It just kind of random guys spotted throughout the country too. There's depth, there's top end talent. Not really like this doesn't need to be a full three-man thought. This is not specific stat lines. Just wanted to point that out and keep an eye on that freshman class because it is sensational.
Mhm.
We've got a note in here about free throw rate. I'm going to save that for three-man thoughts
Oh,
because
okay.
I wanted to talk efficiency
Yes.
and just overall theme of the sport. But the bad loss section, this is where we shove dirt on some teams and point and laugh a little bit. And we got to start with Boise State because this is a team with at-large aspirations, picked second in the preseason Mountain West poll, I think. And they lost at home to Hawaii Pacific, who was an average Division two team last year. Kai, we look at those Massey ratings of all division, all college basketball. The only Division one team that Hawaii Pacific was better than last year was Mississippi Valley State. So, if in a sense this is like losing at home to a bottom 10 team, this is abysmal. It's a disaster. They've got to figure it out because there's no Tyson Dagenhart walking through that door anymore for the Broncos.
Yeah, their defense, I guess, was the issue. I'm just looking at the box score. I did not watch this game. Hawaii Pacific was picked like sixth in their conference in the D2. It's a bad loss. I think this has happened before, Matthew. We've got teams that lose D2 games, weird games, first game of the year, and they end up making the tournament and being fine. But still concerning, and we're still going to call it out, of course, in our We've Saw That section.
Yeah, what was the response? Was it Gavitt or was it Warlock who clarified that it's not technically on the team sheet, but it is on the schedule. Like you can see, they don't like Sharpie it out, right?
There's not going to be
It's
one committee member that knows
Okay.
Boise State lost a D2 game.
Ooh,
Here,
I
don't know
disagree.
about that.
I disagree.
I disagree with Kai.
These guys
It's
are
not
I think
bozos.
it's too loud.
They're bozos.
not.
I don't. I also agree with that, but I think they're
It's
going to
not
take.
in the net. It's like not built into the analytics and stuff, and it won't show up as like a Q4 loss, but it is on the team sheet. Like
It's on the
is
sheet.
It is
You
a
can see
data
it.
point they can look at. Now, do they look at it? Do they consider it? I don't know. But boy, it feels like if you're anywhere close to the bubble, that is a brutal tiebreaker for whoever you're in a conversation with.
And that's where Boise will be if they're. I mean, frankly, I don't think they're quite there. And this loss proved it. But this is yeah, my thought coming up here is the fallacy of one bad loss, and this I think could sort of masquerade as that. If it is on the sheet, which it sounds like it is.
Yep. The other non-Division one loss came last night. Western Michigan losing to Northwood at home. That's not great. It's also a pretty bad sign for Coastal Carolina, who lost to Western Michigan. Western Michigan down Justice Williams, who's part of the gambling probe, I believe. Potentially their starting point guard, a key player for them. But that's a bad loss. It's not as bad as Boise because this team isn't like chasing at large and hasn't been top 50 for 3 straight years. But man, not good stuff from the Broncos. The MAC, hey, the MAC at least beat the Sun Belt. And I will talk about that a little bit in my three-man thoughts too. TCU, you're getting some shame here because not only did TCU lose at home to New Orleans, who is bad and was terrible last year, and TCU is a 20 plus point favorite, but they were kind of getting the crap kicked out of them. Matthew, this was like 20 points. New Orleans was up. I kept checking the score to see if my app was wrong. Like maybe the scores flipped because sometimes that happens. But no, New Orleans was up big most of the game and they held on after a furious comeback by the Horned Frogs. And gosh, it's tough for TCU to like their at-large hopes aren't dead on day one, but they are in dire straits already.
Well, they took care of business last night against the Red Flash, 104-63, making a statement that they're fine. I mean, New Orleans is a pretty good team. I mean, I know it's a team you don't lose to, but it's a plucky, feisty, tricky underdog team that if you're kind of going through the motions on night one, they can catch it, and they certainly did. But still shocking. I mean, just like when Dixon's had good teams, he's really taking care of business against bad teams. So this sort of shoots that narrative right in the old dome, Kai. Tough.
I just, yeah, this team was supposed to be back. They're supposed to be back. And New Orleans, hey, okay, they're supposed to be a little bit better this season. This is a horrible loss. I'm shocked. I am shocked, Jim.
Yeah, and I forgot this in the injury section, but their starting center, Malik Diallo, is out for the year with a torn ACL. Like, it's not getting prettier for TCU, despite that red flash bounce back win. Remember, St. Francis is dropping to Division III after this year, and I think they have like all
Yep.
non-scholarship players.
It's like a
So
lame duck year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. When that happened for Hartford, it got ugly. So it could get ugly for St. Francis. Yeah, tough for TCU. And then Loyola Chicago, a team that was maybe supposed to be
I
in
watched.
competition at the top of the A10. Yeah, Matt, I'll get your thoughts here. Just set it up for you. Mercyhurst dominated them, up by double digits basically the entire second half. Loyola Chicago also almost lost at home to Cleveland State, who, as Kay Henke points out in the chat, Cleveland State beat Division III Capital by 1 at
Barn
home.
burner
And,
last night. Yeah.
and that team almost won at Loyola, who also lost by doubles at home to Mercyhurst. Like, what is going on with the Ramblers, Matthew? What did you see?
They hitched their wagon to Justin Moore, and I'm sorry, I don't want to pick on one guy, but just this team has no offensive identity. They just got bogged down in the mud, and Mercyhurst totally controlled that game. And what was crazy is that their defensive pressure couldn't like even get up and bother Mercyhurst. So I mean, Miles Rubin was your best offensive player. That's a problem. Miles Rubin should not be your best offensive player. He needs to be like your defensive anchor. Um, so I don't like the backcourt. I just think this team is really, really like without a compass right now. I was high on this team too. I don't. The defense bothered me, Kai. You got to get up and like all these teams that make these big runs that pull away in the second half that fork opponents. We talked about getting forked. They always dial up the pressure intensity. They kill the offensive glass. They get turnovers, and then they just demoralize the lesser team. You let the lesser team get comfortable and play confidently, like my guy Bernie Blunt was out there cruising and like you're gonna get. It's gonna be a barn burn late. I'm sorry, like that you're playing with fire, and they got burnt.
I'm not sure what the Loyola fan perception has somehow got. I guess the Final Four did that to you. They expect to be like an at-large team every single year, apparently, based on my Twitter sphere. They are calling for Valentine's like job basically because the non-con he's lost a few games like this. He's not really in a position for an at-large every single year. I just got to give a of reality to Loyola. That is not what your guys' program is. You had a really nice run there under Moser. That is not the norm. This team is better than losing to Mercyhurst for sure. But my goodness, Jim, they are always in an auto bid conversation until further notice, in my opinion.
Yeah, they had a couple good years, and like I believe Valentine's first year they were at large good, and it hasn't been the case since. Poor Justin Moore getting dragged by Matt
He had a
after a
great game.
25 point, 8 assist, 1 turnover game.
I
Like
watched the game.
probably
It was all garbage time. Watch the game. Eye test.
okay,
Trust me,
100%
not good.
good. I like that. I like having the
Best
eye
tweet
test
was the
there, Matthew.
the We Are DePaul account doing the Gryffindor tweet, trolling the Loyola scarves. It's kind of
Okay, yeah,
like
I love that.
Hermione, like they're all yeah. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought the identity of this Loyal team was going to be awesome defense. Like Ruben anchoring the paint. Hunsu is a multi-positional defender. So is Ola Joseph. Justin Moore's been on some good defenses and a big point guard, but they like weren't good on that end last night. They were not good against Cleveland State at all in the season opener. And so as Matt says, feeling a little lost without a compass there. So the Ramblers, we got our eye on you. All right, let's get to three-man thoughts, a little more open-ended discussion, guys. Each of us three, kind of whatever we saw that jumped out to us for the first week. But before we do, Mr. McEwen, we got to give a shout out to Home Field,
Yeah.
who's also a sponsor at Basket Under Review. We love Home Field apparel. I have a couple of shirts. I'm not actually wearing one actively, but I changed right before the show.
This one's a freebie because I forgot to negotiate our contract this year. So I'm in talks behind the scenes via email with Home Field. So not technically a sponsor yet, but we still love their stuff. So we're going to give them homefieldapparel.com. I don't think our promo code is live right now. Excuse me. I think it's 3MW, but when that gets back and rolling, we'll let you know. But do check it out because they have these cool like jackets coming out, like they're game breaker jackets, for like 66 teams. They look awesome. I really hope Mizzou is part of that because I could use another Mizzou jacket from Home Field. I already have one. Home Field, wear them for the team. If they're not our sponsor this year, we gave them an ad, but I think they will be, Jim. I'm confident.
I think so too, Kai. Good vibes with home field, always good vibes with them. And we have, strategic alignment with our audience and what they're trying to sell.
We do.
Those jackets, I spent like 5 minutes clicking around the site to try to see if Mizzou was for sure part of it or not. We don't know yet, but man, I am gonna
Yeah.
look heavily at buying one of those. Hopefully I win some bets so I can afford it. All right, let's get to three-man thoughts, Kai. I'm going to let you kick it off.
Okay.
I don't know which one you're going to go to here. I don't know if you're going to climb on the soapbox or what first, but
Yeah, I didn't
hit the
really.
people with your first thought of the week.
I don't want to come out too like negative to start, so I'll save number one for a little bit
Good.
later.
I was kind of hoping you'd say
Yeah,
that.
the vibe doesn't seem like that right now. Let's go IU Indy. IU Indy, everyone's talking about them right now. Jim, I think you talked about them on a VSiN show recently.
I did.
They are a fun team. Dare I say the most fun team in the country right now. They played LIU yesterday, which flashback 5 years ago, IUPUI LIU. Nobody on earth wants to watch that game. It would be between two of the worst teams in the country. This year, last night, super fun. 86 possessions. The Jaguars have played their first two games, Ohio State and LIU. 220 points in the first game, 184 points in the second game combined, both teams. And it was up and down, fast paced. They full court press. They cherry pick. They have real athletes on their squad. They can shoot. Ben Hallett, their new coach over from D2 West Liberty, he's a run and gun type of guy. So they are appointment television on ESPN Plus because that's probably the only place you can watch them. But do yourself a favor and turn their games on. Also, if you're a bettor, it's been hilarious to watch their totals in the market thus far. I think one offshore account or sportsbook opened at like 153. It closed around 185. Books have no idea what to do with this team.
Yeah, they just didn't even open the odds yesterday until like mid-afternoon or late morning or something. Just like, we don't want to deal with it. We're going to let one of the offshores take all the heat and then open based on that. Yeah, it's chaotic. They forced 40 turnovers combined in their first two games, and one of those was against Ohio State. They just didn't really make threes against LIU, and they struggle with athleticism. But they put up 102 on a Big Ten team. I would also say Ohio State, every single defensive concern has been warranted because IU Indy shot like 65% from two against Ohio State. But man, it is going to be a fun season to follow, a fun system to follow. It is literally called the system for Ben Howland. Howlett, not Ben Howland, Ben Howlett.
Hallett.
And yeah, they get up and down. They two straight games of 86 possessions. Like, there just hasn't been a team that's played like this since like VMI in the mid 2010s or early 2010s, or Savannah State for a year tried to play this chaotically, but I think IU Indy has a little bit more talent than them. It's just going to be fun to see them go through the horizon and play, like just the sticker shock of, holy crap, this team just does not stop. Like pressing for the 86 possessions against the Big Ten team and hanging around the whole way.
Yeah.
It's a joy. Somebody in the chat asked if we're writing overs. Kai, I'm hesitant. Last one did not actually get over the closing total despite being 94-90.
Yeah, probably should have, but there's a lot of helter-skelter at the end of the game.
Yes, yeah. I'm curious to see how high these get. If there's a point where IU Indy has a 200-point total, I'm not going to be like staggered by that.
I mean, they are probably the worst defense in the country, but it is a lot of just their style, really. If they buckle down, they could be better.
Yeah, if you don't get a turnover, we're okay with giving up a layup because we're going to go down and hopefully get a layup or shoot threes on the other end.
Yeah.
It's not quite Grinnell from Division III,
Not
but
quite.
it is the closest thing we will have to it at the Division I level. Matt,
Yes.
IU Indy.
I think they've proven they can compete in that conference. Like, I picked them last, and I feel like that was stupid. It's like the teams that are really good in D2 that bring D2. Like, we've seen this before. I think that's what yeah. If they play Ohio State 10 times, they're probably gonna lose 30.
I think you
9
picked
times,
Green Bay
but-
last, but yeah.
Oh, I think I picked IU Indy actually.
Did
You picked IU Indy last.
I was
and
sneaky
insulted.
high on the Gottlieb.
I was like, you
Oh.
picked Doug Gottlieb over
Yeah,
Ben Howland.
that's a weird pick.
That's not going to age well.
I regret that decision. But no, I think they can finish. It'll be the best IUND team since Ron Hunter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kai?
Maybe.
Jason
that
Gardner
marinade.
didn't have that much, right? I don't know. The comp that a lot of people in our Discord have been making, and I tend to agree with, is Cal Poly last year. just mega fun team that brought a bunch of pieces from Division Two that was awesome offensively. Cal Poly was, I think, the fastest team in the entire country last year, maybe second behind Alabama. IU Indy is going to be the fastest team in the country this year, basically no question about it. And if that leads to some competence and more wins in the horizon, all the better. But we're going to enjoy whatever's happening there no matter what because their games are appointment television. Even if you don't like mid-major basketball, it's just so chaotic and fun that you should tune in.
Absolutely. That's my IU Indy thought. And we are sponsored by Home Field. So, Home Field, hooray.
Boom. It's official. Kai negotiating while on air.
Yeah,
Find you a podcaster that can produce this show, can negotiate a sponsor, and give you an IU indie thought. That's our college basketball
that's me.
versatility. Kai, you're malleable. You're fungible.
I am.
You can play a lot of spots in the lineup. All right, Matthew, I'm going to go to you for your first thought here. And for the listeners at home, it is going to be a surprise and a reveal because Matt has taken a silent boycott protest against our outline. So, Matthew, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I get surprised like, whoa, what's Matt gonna say?
I
Very
always think
simple.
that. I
Yeah,
always
no,
think that.
that's hey, so does it. Welcome to everyone around, including my wife and my daughter. I think so. Scheduling fix. I think we need to do two things. I don't care if you're D1, D2, NAIA, D3, or JV high school team. Every game you play after November 1 matters. It's on the team sheet. It counts. However, every team gets a one-loss mulligan. You throw out your worst loss. And I say this because it's very clear to me, looking at like UC San Diego last year losing to Seattle. Every year there's always a mid-major with a pretty gaudy record that has like one kind of bad loss. I just think there's too much emphasis on exclusion in the bad loss category and too much weight put on the who did you beat, not considering the number of opportunities you had against good teams. So my point is, it actually helps, I think, mid majors relatively more, but I think even power conferences schools might be on board with it. I'm sure Jamie Dixon would be cool with it right now. So I think your worst loss, you throw it out, and then let's
I
see where
don't,
the chips fall.
man, I kind of like that, where then it just encourages more ambitious
It's
scheduling.
one game. You played a game in November. Like I remember talking to Todd Kowalczyk last year, and he talked about some of the MTEs that these teams go to now. It's like he said one year they measured the rim at like 9 foot 10 inches, and they had to like come out and fix it before the game. They lost to a terrible UMKC team. This is when they were actually like really good Toledo, and it's just like okay, maybe if Toledo's on the bubble, that game I'm okay to forgive. They lost the game on a back to back to back and a 10 foot 2 inch rim. Like let's just throw out your worst game. One fluke for every team and see where the chips fall.
I will just piggyback because scheduling was one of my points, but I'm agree, Matthew. But scheduling in general, just fix it. We have more
Yeah, I agree.
20 point spreads than ever, and half the teams played non D1 games yesterday. What do we, Jim? Like, just schedule each other. Like, I don't understand what we're doing. And like we said with Florida, Arizona, go play good teams early. It's not going to hurt you. I don't like it right now.
There needs to be some adjustment or something where if you play non D1, it counts as playing net 366. It cannot
Yeah,
be not included.
agreed.
It needs to be like an anchor to your resume. This whole like it's not in there, so it doesn't affect your strength of schedule, and it's this like cheat hack to not have to play a bad D1 team. I think it's awful. I'm not a fan. And yeah, like there was a push that like, oh, opening day is better this year. And seriously, shout out to the Field of 68 marathon. The fact that we actually had games during the day that day, and I think they got a little bit of crap for like tech stuff on the mics and one of the games the broadcast cut out for a little bit. That's not their fault. Oh, shout out Gemma on the podcast. But
I agree. Shouts to Field. I defend Robin Jeff on this one, broadcast issues aside.
yeah,
And Gemma
it was
agrees
so
too.
it was so awesome that they did that. It was like five of the nine best games of opening day. And the rest of the week has been crapola. I mean, like we had Duke, Texas on Tuesday, and there wasn't a single game between two power conference teams on Thursday. Wednesday was really soft, sad scheduling too. It's like you come in with we want to have a roar, but we really come in with a whimper as a sport,
Yeah.
and it's disappointing because everybody's like, "Wow, I don't want to play someone hard already because I don't want to take a bad loss." It's like you're not taking a bad loss. Florida didn't take a bad loss playing Arizona. Villanova didn't take a bad loss playing BYU.
Oh,
And I guess this is why some coaches want more preseason, Kai. Like, but they have
no.
to sign a contract that if you play two preseason games, you have to play somebody good in the first week. You have to. You don't get
Yeah.
to then just turn around and play like by game flotsam.
You're not ready. You're not ready after all that practice. That's on you as a coach. You're not ready. That's on you. Oh, SWAC teams, their phones ringing off the hooks in the off season. Hey, can we get Alabama A&M? Can we get Texas Southern? Can we get Mississippi Valley State? All these teams just running through the SWAC, the power teams. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, Kai. I'm glad we talked scheduling. Yeah, it's just that the opening night, like I remember a lot of tweets like, oh, opening night's gonna be awesome. We've got this doubleheader in Vegas, we've got the Field of 68 Marathon, those are good. But oh boy, Tuesday through Thursday have
It's
been
bad.
bleak. And finally Friday, Saturday, we've got a little bit. But yeah, just disappointing stuff. Those are the days when we should be featured Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday through Thursday. There's no NFL. I guess there's one on Thursday, but just that's got to be when you're putting some good games out there, and there just really weren't any. Matt, I like your drop the worst loss because it's like, hey, in college, in a lot of classes, you get to drop your worst test score. So why can't we
Oh yeah, that's
apply
right.
that to
Yeah, I
getting
mean,
into
same
the
logic.
NCAA tournament? Yeah, it's perfect. These are academic institutions,
We gotta,
after
we gotta,
all.
right. We gotta ask Rocco what he thinks about that. Um, but yeah, like I mean, all the mid-major teams who have been like on the bubble, who I don't think have it should have been on the bubble the last 4 years. They all have like one like they lost to that team like 5 years ago. Uh, Come on.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take the mic for my first thought, and we hinted at it a little bit with the free throw rate mention, and we saw that, but it's just where we at on efficiency. The last 2 years have been the most efficient seasons of the sport's history, with Ken Palm's database going back about 30 years. Through 4 days, we are still barely outpacing last year. The opening day was like, holy God, ludicrously efficient, by far the most efficient opening day. But it's come back down a little bit, come to earth. But the problem is, Kai, as you insinuated or mentioned, there's been a lot of touch fouls, a lot of fouling, a lot of free
So
throws.
much.
Free throw rate is at its highest point in the last like 8 years. Offensive rebounding also up, curiously offset by 3-point percentage at its lowest number since 2014 through 4 days of the season.
Yeah.
But man, it's there's been a lot of fouling and a lot of games that turn into foul fests. That's what really is the bummer of it.
Yeah, I assume we'll smooth out, but the refs, man, the across the board, very touchy, and I need less 25 feet away from the basket, close guarding touch fouls. We need to stop this, especially when the game's out of reach at the end. And it's really unnecessary. And we shouldn't have teams shooting 40 plus free throws a game. And then, unfortunately, that's a lot of what it is across the board. You look, people are in bonuses with like 11 minutes to go. It's like, well, I know how this game's going to go the rest of the game. It's like, it's going to be a slog.
First game of the year, Queens Winthrop, games at
Yeah.
7 a.m. and both teams are in the bonus with 11 minutes left. It's like,
And you didn't have to call all those fouls. It's just it's a choice by the refs, to be honest. So, but yes, I agreed. I have noticed 3-point percentage. There's been a lot of teams going like 2 for 20, 1 for 30, like not 1 for 30,
yeah,
but like bad.
5 for 27
I think
feels
that'll
like
even
I've
out a
seen
little
every
bit.
box score with that.
Yeah. But hey, still efficient because of free throws.
Yeah, yeah, and offensive rebounding. The emphasis on that, like the Florida won a title with two bigs and getting a bunch of offensive rebounds. So we should all mimic that and get on the offensive glass and just kind of trends up and down in the sport, Matthias.
I think what coach said this? It's a good coach, a smart coach. There is a little bit of irony in the we're trying to improve the game flow, but we're just going to stop it more often. It's like I just think I know we're trying to clean up the. Sometimes over meddling is counterproductive. I think so, and from what I've watched, I feel like we're trending toward that side of the aisle. So,
Yeah, hopefully it's like within a week they just give up on this point of emphasis, as we see with a lot of point of emphases in the sport. But yeah, it hasn't been an overly aesthetically pleasing product in many of the games. But hey, we haven't had a lot of big featured
It's
matchups,
true.
so we'll see how that changes over, Friday, Saturday, and the next Tuesday is a holy God, find your couch and four screens. Kentucky Louisville being the headliner. All right, Kai, second thought to you.
Yeah, I'm putting Ryder on blast because I had to watch them. This is one of the worst basketball teams I've watched in the last couple of years. Holy moly! Like I'm mad at Kevin Baggett, the head coach, who has apparently the best job security in the world because he's been there for over a decade. This program's done nothing, and yet he hasn't really seemed to care about changing his style. They take the most mid rangers almost in the country and the worst shot selection I've ever seen. They're eighth right now in the country in field goal attempt rate from mid range. They have played Virginia and Rutgers. Okay, maybe, but they were pretty much that high last year. And Zion Cruz is a big offender of that. He takes awful shots, like a step inside the three
Awful,
point line, pull up,
awful.
just terrible. Ryder was 2 for 20 from three. At the end of the game, they're down 25 with like 5 minutes left, and they're still meticulously trying to run offense high low and trying to pound it in the freaking mid range area, not even looking to shoot a three. Most of their 3 point attempts were like desperation. This might be the worst team in the Metro Atlantic. And Matt, I watched the entire 40 minutes because like I want to see how bad this gets. Them losing by 28 was almost an indictment on Rutgers, and quite lucky that they only lost by 28.
Yeah, I was so my other thought was going to be like, who is the non like traditional low major conference team that finishes like bottom five in Ken Palm? Like, just truly is awful. I know Jim
I
has an
know,
answer.
I
I'll
know.
call on Jim here in a sec. I think candidates include, but are not limited to, Ryder, um, the Citadel. God, they were bad last night against Boston College.
I know Jim's
Um,
answer, and I agree.
and I know I'll tee up for it. Who was the other one I wrote down? Oh yeah, NCA&T, who I thought actually looked okay, so I'm
Yeah,
kind of removing them.
yeah.
But they're like one of the lowest teams right now in Ken Palm's rankings. And then Jim, your Warhawks.
Well, yeah, I just gonna Kai, Canisius and Niagara are in a race to the bottom
I
with
know.
Ryder in that one.
Yeah, I,
They're
I know.
they're
I say that,
terrible.
and it's like
And
there's a lot
Canisius
of
as
bad
well.
teams at the bottom.
Buffalo
Canisius,
basketball.
yeah,
The running Bulls are the best team up there right now.
for sure.
Buffalo's favored by like a touchdown today. It's
I know. I
just
don't
an
understand.
absolute embarrassment. But yeah, Louisiana Monroe I think is going to be like bottom three-ish. They lost by 20 on opening night to a bad team. Like they lost two guys to injury in the preseason. They made a coaching hire that screamed we don't have any money. Um, they lost by 20 to shorthanded Northern Illinois. That like
Yeah,
Northern Illinois didn't have their best international recruit. So
yeah.
we will see what they do against Ole Miss tonight. Ole Miss is taking a lot of money, Kai.
Yep.
I
Some of
think it
mine.
could be it's going to be like Mississippi Valley State bad for them. Yeah, some of mine as well, Kai. Some of mine as well.
Okay. Yeah, I see you, Ryder. You can't hide. We're a national podcast, Jim.
That's right. All right, I'm going to do a quick international check-in. It's only a week into the season, and we'll probably revisit this in like a month. But as of now, it feels like the international class is good, not great. We've got a ton of them, but like just going through some of the top players, Tice DeRitter for Virginia, amazing. He had an incredible debut. Dame Sarr was a monster defender. Hannah Steinbach is averaging 17, 11 and a half, and 5 through two bye games.
Solid.
But beyond that, like Neo Abdallas, fine. Ilias Kamerdine, Sananda Frew at Louisville. Ivan Karchenkov was great for Arizona. David Mirkovich was very good for Illinois. They did not have Petrovic yet. Stefan Vox, Kai, for Providence was really good.
He's talented.
Uh,
Yeah.
really big fan of being a fan, like screaming for him is yelling, get vaccinated. I think
Very good.
that's a nice, you've got a good bit going there. But Waylon for Oregon was like one of the worst players on opening night that I watched.
Mhm.
Mario St. Super's in a timeshare with Braden Smith at Gonzaga. Yelovich for Kentucky, Jovic for Auburn were both pretty awful in their debuts. It just kind of feels like in Kai, you can do a victory lap if you want, like a
No,
little bit
not yet.
of overhyping for them. But yes, it is early and it's a lot of buy game stuff. But
Well, yeah.
I want to see a little more.
Of course, it's overhyping. They're essentially it's a freshman class, and you need to treat it as such. I don't care what pro league you might have gotten minutes in. You're still new to college basketball, so there's going to be awesome players like DeRitter, and there's going to be a lot of average ones, just like freshman class this season.
Yep. Yeah. They're older, but it's like it's a new style of basketball, and we've
Yeah,
seen that with a lot of the international guys that have come over. And it's like I've got to get used to this type of physicality or this speed of the game or the way it's refed. There's just a lot of differences, even if you were playing in a better league like Spain or Germany, if it's better than Division One. But you just got to kind of figure things out still, and I think it's going to be a little more of a feeling out process for the international guys.
Hey, Illinois. I mean, I think they're sort of the beacon for this movement, right? We'll see. Yeah, I think people will make a lot of judgments based on how well their year goes, just how publicized they've gone to the Balkan Bros. So yeah, Who? Like, what are the other international teams? I mean, Arizona obviously has. They always have a lot, but I feel like Illinois is kind of the poster
Well,
child of like.
Matt, the poster child is your boys, the Skyhawks at UT Martin.
Oh, of course,
Entirely
going into.
international
What a
roster that went
win!
to Vegas. Yeah, we probably should have
We
made
should have
fun of
mentioned that.
UNLV for that since it was
So
like a
that was my
17-point spread.
my other thought, which as forgetting
Okay,
that we already do a bad loss section, was rank your top brutality losses. What's the one the most inexcusable? I had UNLV, Loyola, Fordham. Fordham's tough.
Yeah, Fordham's
And
tough.
Fordham.
at TCU, we've already talked about. So those were the four that were just for like, I feel like your season's basically derailed right now. I
I
mean,
I
Loyola
mean
maybe not because the A10 tournament, but yeah.
I think the worst one's Boise. I think Boise's loss is the worst just because like that team was terrible last year. Like the middling 15 and 15 Division two team. I think I recognize one name on the Hawaii Pacific roster. Quentin Meza played at Wofford for a year or two, but yeah, you don't want that many candidates for the most embarrassing loss of the season just 4 days into the year. All right, Kai, did you wrap up all your thoughts?
I did.
You get through all?
I did.
Okay, Matthew, anything else from you? Any other thoughts?
No, that's all. Wait. Oh no, I'm good. I had a few. I'm trying
Okay.
to my rookie, mid-major rookie. I thought there have been, Jim, you mentioned a lot of good mid-major rookies who have been surprising. I feel like I'm trying to
Yeah, and
compile a list that I've
someone
seen.
mentioned in the chat, like there's been talks of this, like the more that the power conferences rely on the portal, the more recruits that will fall through the cracks to the
Yeah,
mid-major
more
level, and you get
opportunities.
some really talented freshmen. And as we continue through the season, we'll highlight a lot of those names because they're fun to watch, and it's just cool to see them break out at that level. My last quick thought, I just wanted to shout out the No Fun Belt or point at them and say, what are you doing? We mentioned UL Monroe because they're terrible and could be like basement of the SWAC level bad, but this conference went 4-8 against the MAC. And remember, the MAC was like really bad last year. Their wins were Troy and Arkansas State. Okay, two of the top teams, good. South Alabama also good. Probably expected top of the league, though they struggled last night with a SWAC opponent themselves. And Marshall.
Really good win.
Yeah, the middle and basement of the league is terrible. Southern Miss, you can't be losing to Buffalo. Coastal, you can't be losing to Western Michigan, especially now that we saw Western Michigan lose to a non-D1. Georgia State, fire your coach. They're terrible. I don't.
Yeah.
I kind of don't know why Jonas Hayes is back. Like, there's been no momentum there, no encouragement. And then Texas State,
Holy cow,
really
Jim.
bad on opening night.
They lost by 40 to Bowling Green. I mean, that spread was 5. Like that's horrible. I had to reassess everything. I don't care one game reaction. You lose by 40 to Bowling Green and a team you're supposed to compete with. Yeah, that really stood out to me.
But they got
Yep.
right though against Texas A&M San Antonio, 114
Darn
to
right.
55.
Yeah.
So they're back. I think they're fine. I'm not gonna panic on my Bobcats
Yeah,
yet, Kai.
they've totally figured it out. But yeah, just like the top isn't good. There's nobody in the top 100, and there's only one team in the top 130. Last year they had two teams in the top 100. The year before they had two. In 2023 they had four teams in the top 100. So you got a bad bottom, shaky middle, and seemingly not as good on top. This could be like the worst Sun Belt maybe ever. In like 2011 they were the 27th ranked conference. FAU was still in the league then. But it feels like, at least in the last decade, this is the worst version of that conference, and I'm bummed about it because it's supposed to be the Fun Belt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the best teams, Jim. Oh, I
no,
was
no, good.
like South Alabama, Troy actually got a win over Kent State.
Yeah,
The
Troy was
talent's actually
good.
down, but the
Yeah,
good coaches sort of upholding up the
yeah.
quality. But the talent overall, you can just see it. It's down.
South Alabama trailed for like 38 minutes against Alcorn State, and I think Alcorn State is dog water.
They
So
are. They're
yeah,
bottom barrel at SWAC. So yeah,
yep,
not good.
Hmm.
yep. All right, that wraps up three-man thoughts. Shout out to Home Field Apparel, the sponsor
Yeah,
of three-man
homefieldapparel.com.
thoughts, officially the sponsor now. Yeah, let's talk a little bit of game previews. Got Arkansas at Michigan State. Tonight there is Kansas at UNC, but we're not going to dwell on Friday night too much right now because I don't know when folks will be listening to this. Could be over the weekend. Arkansas, Michigan State, Kai. This is a big test for Michigan State, who dominated exactly what you thought they'd dominate against Colgate, like crush the offensive glass, but they can't really shoot it, and they showed it in that game. It's a little bit sloppy-ish. I think if Colgate had any more size, that would have been really competitive. And Arkansas brings a lot of size. They're not even starting Malik Ewan. Trevon Brazil and Nick Pringle are veterans in the paint. They've got big wings. I think this is a tough matchup for Michigan State. My only concern is Arkansas loves transition with Darius Acuff at point, and Michigan State is one of the best transition defenses in the country.
Yeah, it's interesting match. Clearly, way more dynamic guard play and well, just play overall in Arkansas. And I would say more talented, clearly more talented on paper. But there's the steady rock of Michigan State. I think they dominate the glass in this game. I think they kind of frustrate an Arkansas team looking to get out in transition and run, run, run. I think most people assume Arkansas is going to win going away here. Michigan State favored by 2 on KenPom, but I think perceptions are Arkansas is a better team. I don't know, Matt. I kind of lean towards Michigan State here getting a big win at home. I like the steadiness of this team.
Yeah, it's easier to trust them at home. I'm a little bit down on this team. It's funny. They have a good schedule set up, right? They get Arkansas at home, and then I think they play Kentucky in a couple of weeks, and Kentucky's been a little bit injured, and it's on a neutral, and you could see them maybe sort of not stealing that game, but I guess in the sense that I think they're worse than Kentucky. Like they could maybe sneak up and catch Big Blue Nation. They could be sitting here at 4-0 with wins over Arkansas and Kentucky. That said, if this game was not at the zone, I would be very confident in Arkansas. I think the size of fronts that Arkansas boasts to combat the Michigan State front line is pretty key. I think Michigan State needs like a third scorer. I think they're going to miss like who's that third banana shooter scorer? That's the missing link I think right now in this team.
Yeah, because Kurt Tang's preseason performance was bad. He was okay against Colgate, but like they out rebounded Colgate 47-25 and took 31 more free throws than Colgate, and they only won by 11. If
Concerning.
those numbers you added together, and it's like, uh-oh. But Arkansas, hey, they blew out Southern. I'm not fully confident that that roster has all come together between the transfers and the freshmen yet, but Acuff and Malik Thomas were really good. And hey, they got highlighted on John Rothstein's show. But they're just more evidence of how good the freshman class is. However, they're playing some adults with that Michigan State crew. So I actually do lean towards the home team too, Kai.
Nice.
Just the physicality advantage that the Spartans have. All right, next up, I want to talk quickly on Alabama St. John's, a track meet of a speed fueled game here. St. John's looked really good against Quinnipiac in their opener. The amount of scores on this roster is way, way up compared to last year. Defense still pretty solid with Dylan Mitchell and Zuby Ejiofor and Rick Pitino at the helm. But Kai Alabama looked good. They're maybe Nate Oates called out Taylor Bowen in the press, and he wants a little more physicality from his front court. But LeBaron Filand is awesome. Aiden Holloway is awesome. They can make a bunch of threes. Latrell Wrightsell is seemingly healthy. What are you looking at with this game at Madison Square Garden?
Super fun. I think we're gonna get 80 possessions and a ton of points. KenPom's got this like 168, and I think that's probably where we're gonna end up, especially with the way fouls are being called this year. I'm gonna lean towards the defensive team, Jim. That's St. John's. I think they're a much better defensive team. I think their size on their perimeter is gonna. Filand's not short, but it's going to give him a little more fits than usual than he would against a normal opponent, certainly against North Dakota. So I'm going St. John's. Now, 6 points is a lot of points for a team that I think is very good in Alabama. It is at home, St. John's. I don't think Madison Square Garden's that big of a home court advantage, to be frank. So I don't think I would lay 6 if we're talking from a betting perspective, but I think St. John's wins this game.
Yeah, I like the Johnnies here. There's been a lot of talk about their roster construction and is it going to work? I don't think this is the game where that really shows up. Like you don't need the point guard to execute in the half court with the way Alabama runs up and down and plays so much in transition. They try to slow you down defensively, but they're going to play some drop coverage stuff. And I think St. John's has shot makers with Sandin and Jackson and Darling and even Bryce Hopkins that are good enough to make shots in the mid range, stretch out that defense a little bit, and just the transition game, I think, can St. John's can play with Bama there. That's not an advantage for the Tide getting out in the open floor because St. John's is entirely comfortable with that as well. So I'm with you. Matt is with his daughter, folks. We're not getting Matt's take on these games, unfortunately. But hey, it's a frenetic, chaotic home there when you've got a almost year old, right? Gosh,
Almost.
He's getting close. Wow.
Johnny's by 15. Big.
15. Vicky
I love it.
Valancourt, round 2.
I love it. He's calling it. All right. And then on Sunday, here in Chicago, Kai, but we're gonna miss it
Yeah,
because we'll be
yeah.
trekking back from Door
Correspondence.
County.
Hope Matt goes this game. He won't.
Matt's
He will not.
Matt's Hoosiers are coming to him to take on Marquette. A really impressive debut for the Hoosiers, just absolutely blowing out. Kind of decent. I don't know. I thought Alabama A&M was going to be okay, but
I agree.
destroyed them. Marquette, Matthew, not quite as impressive in their bye games. Do you think your Hoosiers make an announcement to the college basketball world on Sunday that they are legitimate?
I think they win a close one. I think it's gonna be a really good game. I'm a little bit higher on Marquette. I feel like than most people. Um, I They're still Marquette felt a little young to me from what I watched of that game. Um, in Indiana, man, I just if you can't exploit them at the rim, which I don't really feel like Marquette can, then I think they're going to be really tough to beat. I think Indiana will have a sort of like I would say West Virginia last year, a very good non-con, and then maybe show some of some of their warts are exposed more in the Big Ten. So I think that's
Yeah,
kind of the
against that
trajectory of this
size.
season. Yeah, that's my. I think the first game against it's one Alabama A&M. I think that kind of confirmed like okay, this team can do some things really well, but I think that's going to be sort of exposed against Big Ten size. I think they win this game, been a close one though.
I'm also a lot higher Marquette than the consensus. Chase Ross has been awesome through 2 games, and that's exactly what Marquette needs. He has been very, very, very good. Now, competition, I know, has not been good, but I think it's a really good sign that he's dominating in that fashion. I think he's averaging like 19 a game. Sean Jones is back. Fantastic. This is a game where Marquette's front line will not hurt them that much. Like, that is their weakness, for lack of a better term. I like Ben Gold a lot, but they do not have a lot of interior fortitude inside defensively. Indiana's not really going to expose that, in my opinion. So I think Marquette's kind of built to stop Indiana, and I think they win this game. The Eagles.
Yeah,
Marquette just needs they need another like a little more assertive score. I feel like the role players are a little too passive sometimes. Like Chase Ross and Sean. I mean, Sean Jones is not naturally an alpha, but like behind Chase Ross, like I like Zay Lowry needs to be a little more aggressive. I think those guys need to be more assertive. Otherwise, it's going to be too big of a burden on Ross, like it kind of was with Cam Jones last year. That's my Marquette concern.
yeah. I think that was the hype was that would be Rice Parham, and he's been high usage the first 2 games, but
Not officially though.
taking
Yeah,
too many threes. You're a 230-pound bowling ball. Get to the rim, my man, against SWAC defenses. Yeah, I think that both these guys' points are well taken. Of the teams are perimeter based offensively. They don't have the bully ball inside. Neither one has like a great rim protector. Can either one actually take advantage of that? That's the question. I will say I was very encouraged, Matthew, by Sam Alexis's performance in the opener.
I know.
Again, against the versus SWAC team,
He's
so I
good
can't
against bad
like
teams.
reject it completely.
I think he is
Um,
ahead of Reed Bailey in the rotation by January.
well, I mean,
Is
they
that
should play together a fair amount, right?
Yeah, is he too small to play five? That's probably too small, but I kind of like him as a little more of the just total spread and
Alexis?
shred and yeah.
If he's too small to play five, they don't have a five.
I
He's
think
like
they
their
think it's
base dude.
Reed and yeah, I think they should play Alexis more at the five. I don't want to see him play with Bailey. I don't like Bailey. Get Bailey out of there. He's not a helpful piece on this team. That's my hot take.
No,
Sorry.
he was Reed Bailey was dominant in the opener with 21, 5,
Alabama,
and 2.
good for you. Congrats.
Yeah.
Hang the banner for Reed.
I'm gonna pick Indiana. I'm gonna go with the Hoosiers. I think they do make that announcement to the world that it's not the Mike Woodson era anymore. Darian DeVries is here. All right, that's previews, Kai. I'm
Yes.
gonna kick it over to you for one review before we let the people go on this Friday.
Very well, Jim. From Davidson Mildcat. We're so back. Thanks for getting me through the off season and the first 2 months of fatherhood. Ooh, very nice. Congratulations. With a genuinely impressive lineup of content and the usual display of your expertise, the pod is even better at 3 a.m. While watching a baby not sleep. Appreciate the commitment to independent thinking, backed up by solid research as always. So glad we have games to watch finally. You and us both. Question for us: as the season gets underway, who are your picks for an All-American team formed only by active D1 coaches, either as they are now or playing in their prime? Dang, we should have researched this early, Jim. Top of my head: Penny Hardaway, Mike Bibby, Mo Williams,
Mark
uh,
Pope,
Mark Pope,
put him
probably.
on there. Mark
Mark
Madsen. I
Madsen.
mean, yeah,
That's
you
that's a
got
good
some
front
actual
line.
size in
Madsen
there.
and Pope.
Yeah, but then like if you want to do more towards like current, you want to search for the
Kim
younger
English on the
guys. Like
bench.
Kim English is good. Sa Nimley is real young and was awesome for Charleston Southern. Yeah, we don't have Jerry
Charlie Ward.
Stackhouse part of this anymore. Charlie Ward, another NBA player. Yeah, you typically like for all-time level, you want to gravitate towards the NBA guys, but current, it's so much like an age thing.
Yeah.
But
Tavon
uh,
Sadler's like 30, so throw him on the team.
Yeah, I mean, he would make me feel super old. He'd bury me in the post. But yeah, I'm with you, Kai. I think you said a lot of the best names, and I'm sure comment section and the Discord maybe will get us out more. To Mall Hornet in the chat, no KUNC UNC preview. We're gonna leave it alone on Friday because we don't know if people will listen to this on Saturday or not. Um, I think my gut said Kansas, but I can't do it. They're just better coached. But
Yeah, lean towards Kansas too. John Shire would be a player
what?
on the team.
Oh, John Shire.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, he's not Kansas or UNC. What are you talking about? But yes,
Hubert
John Shire
Davis.
is a good call. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Davidson Wildcat. Jim,
Yep.
pass it back to you to round up the show.
All right, yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. This was our first in-season episode. Going to be the format generally going forward. Hopefully, we'll have a little more to the Roots Roundup, but not injuries. We don't want those. We just want like coach extensions or something. I don't know. But yes, we've saw that, talk about big results. We'll have 3-man thoughts where just whatever has hit our brains over the last week, that's what we'll discuss. And we'll sneak in some previews at the end. But as usual, we'll get back to our Saturday show. So we won't overdo it on previews because that's where a lot of our Saturday discussion will be.
Next week.
So thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Basket Under Review, to Home Field, to CVB Analytics. You are the best. We'll catch you again next week, Friday, with plenty more games to discuss. Until then, enjoy the basketball.